Alright guys, well, everyone keeps asking and it's a lot to explain over text, so I'm going to make you guys a video of how I added my two Lifetime 3000 watt inverters to power my entire trailer and make it all seamless. Okay, so this is the factory auto transfer switch that comes in these Genesis trailers. This is a 50 amp trailer. Pop this thing off. There we go. Oops. Alright. Now, so if you look here, the way these things work, you got your generator input, and this is your control panel output, and this is the power cord input. So all that you do is you just disconnect your control panel output and run these wires to your inverter, and I'll show you that here in a second. And yes, you can take and just use the same neutral output for both of your wires coming out. It's no problem to share it. That's actually the way the trailer's wired to begin with, because there's nothing in this trailer that runs on 240. Everything's 120 volt, 110 volt, whatever you want to call it. So you only have the one output coming out. Now, I guess I should probably have taken this off first. Hang on, let me take the cover off this, show you how I wired this breaker up. Alright, so instead of putting in a three-way transfer switch, you can just use the transfer switch you have, which will convert everything over from shore power to generator, no problem to power your loads. The difference is, instead of going from this box to your breaker panel, we're going from this box to the two inverters through this cable here. This is marine grade 8 gauge 3 conductor cable. I ran straight to my grounds, shared the neutral, one hot, other hot. Okay, it's really hard to do. And then from there I come back over here. I'll show you guys on the inverters how I wired it here in a second. And if this seems too daunting for you, get a hold of one of your buddies who's an electrician that knows more about this. Don't try to tackle this on your own, even though it's really not that complicated. But so basically what I did was this conduit right here was originally hooked up right here into this panel. So I just unhooked it from this panel, hooked it up on the fuse side of these two breakers. There's my one hot, my other hot going to my breaker panel inside. Ground, my neutral's hooked up here, ground's hooked up here, grounded to the chassis, with everything else just like everything else was wired originally. And then I've got one inverter feeding this leg, one inverter feeding this leg, neutral here, neutral there. These are all of course sheared. Got both of my grounds hooked up here, one hot from one inverter here, one hot from one inverter here. And the inverters do all the switching inside. I'll switch over there because this is really uncomfortable laying here in this thing. And then I just have my batteries set up here behind my false wall. Fits in right here. Bolts up, goes up against here from the factory. I took the false wall out, seen there was all this room, so I went and put my batteries in here. One thing I do different, instead of buying these batteries, which I bought this Lifetime in 280 and another one for the regular house battery is what I bought first, and then I realized I could have just went and ran 48 volt and I would have been better off, but I already had the inverter from another project. I already had batteries, I already had a lot of this cabling and stuff, so I just repurposed this for this. The next truck or the next vehicle I do, the next RV, I'll definitely do 480 volt and then use the house converter and one 12 volt battery to run the 12 volt, and then I won't have to have this big old monster cable, which this is oversized anyway. But you can buy this cable. I got Amazon links they'll be in the description of this video, where you can get this cable off Amazon pre-made for cheaper than you can buy just the cabling at your local auto parts or supply store. And they're already pre-made, they're nice, they're heavy stranded, it's not that aluminum shit. This is all good good quality cabling, and all that. These bus bars are not the greatest, but they work. And anyhow, so all of these batteries, these are my main batteries. I've got one mini there, and these two large ones, and another mini. And there's my boy over there.
Hi, Dad.
Playing video games. The other thing for you Genesis guys.
Then can I go inside the treasure trove?
Not right now, son. I got it locked up, okay? Let me get done with this video. This vacuum cleaner, the shop vac for the deal, was sitting long ways in here. I relocated up there and got all this extra room. So all these batteries right here are going to sit behind that false wall, and I'm not going to lose any space doing it that way. So I probably will actually add some more batteries back over here later on. But anyhow, so all my batteries hook up to these two bus bars. Yes, the cables are not the same length. No, the batteries are not going to discharge exactly at the same rate. I don't care. It was way too much hassle to try to make all the cabling exactly the same length and have the most optimal power sharing and all that stuff. The batteries aren't the same size. They're not the same age. It's not that big a deal, okay? Anyhow, they come through here. On the negative side, there's my shunt. Then I've got 300 amp main breaker feeding over here to my loads, and then I've got my two load bus bars here. And this is not finished product. Then I'm going to tidy this up some more, and those feed my 3 inverters. The reason I ran 3 inverters, I already had the 1 inverter already hooked up, and that inverter runs my microwave. This little 2000 watt here will run my microwave and my TV, and I could also run one space heater off of it if I wanted to, a smaller one in the deal. This AC runs this inverter runs the main AC in the main side of the trailer. This one runs the AC in the main bedroom. Those ACs from the factory are wired on the 2 different legs of the power coming in. Then I have the 60 amp lifetime charge controller, and right now I have 5 200 watt panels hooked up to it, and that's where this kind of sucks, is that pretty much maxes out this charge inverter. Where if I would have run a 48 volt system, I could have run this one inverter, and I could have put 4 times as much panels on one charge converter, and I wouldn't have to have such massive cabling throughout. All right, now let's go over to the other side, and I'll show you the wiring on the inverters. All right, back over here now. All right, so much better than laying inside this thing. But as you guys can see, I'm not losing much space at all, besides these two here. And I still have plenty of storage here for tools and whatnot, and I have all the storage back here. Now, some of this storage here in the middle is not going to be that accessible, so I think I may actually put some more batteries right here in the middle, where they really won't affect me on either side. All my totes and stuff fit nicely over there for my sewer and all that. But anyhow, you guys are here for the power part of it. So down here, I've just got one of these out here, so I have a monitor that I can mess with out here and see what's going on. I've got one inside the trailers too that I haven't finished mounted yet. But so you've got AC input, AC output. So these outputs go out to that box over there where I have the 40 amp by 40 amp breaker, which is more than enough. You don't have to have a 50 by 50. 40 by 40 is more than capable, and it gives me a little headroom to make sure that none of my wiring goes bad. These lifetime inverters actually call for 10 gauge wiring, I believe, but anyhow, I went one size over with the wiring. This is marine grade wiring, highly flexible marine grade Romex. There'll be a link in that for the Amazon link in there. But yeah, so you've got AC output greater than 1,000 watts. You've got your 3 legs here, and your AC input here. These inverters have auto transfer, or auto pass through, not auto transfer, but auto pass through. You can set them up where when you supply shore power to these, the shore power passes through them, and the inverter side of it actually turns off, and it just allows the current to flow through. And it also turns on the built-in integrated chargers, which charge your batteries up while your loads are being powered by the shore power. Now I can flip a switch on these, and I can actually make it where these will stay running, and it'll just kick the chargers on and charge the batteries. So if I was in a situation where I didn't have a ton of power, like I only had a 110 outlet, I can take and flip a switch on the back of these. I'll stay running off these, still be able to run all my ACs and stuff, but I'll just run the chargers off of that, and I'll make sure I think I want to put some kind of a watt meter in here to see what the inrush wattage is, so that way I don't overload any circuits on somebody's house or whatever when it breaks, because some people only have, like 15 amp circuits, and you try to run both of these wide open on it, you're going to be getting pretty close to that. Right now I have both of these turned all the way down, so they're not charging that hard. But anyhow, so my input, the input on these is basically the power that would have went out to the main breaker panel. Of course, some jackasses. Let's see if he drives by here. Freaking twat. Go racing or paying some of my freaking Tesla and just blow his fucking doors off. But anyhow, he's driving right by a school right now too. Cops in this town are amazing. Guy's like a half mile away. Retarded. Anyhow, moving on. So my input to these is, like I say, it's the output from that transfer switch, the auto transfer switch that comes from the factory. That auto transfer switch feeds the input to this one and the input to this one. That's where it gets its power from, where it's doing its charging or its pass through or however. And then our outputs are here and here. These go to that breaker, goes through that breaker. So one, that works as a junction, because obviously the factory wiring wouldn't make it all the way over here, and I got a breaker in there just to add a little extra peace of mind, and it gives me a nice solid place to make all my connections. That's the main reason I put that breaker in there. Okay, so both of these are running right now. As you see, they make no noise. This one here, the way these Genesis are configured is this power right here powers one circuit in the coach, which is for the TV. There's an outlet by the coffee maker, and there's also an outlet by the master bed, so you have power through your inverter, and that's what this is for. And then in the event you're hooked up to shore power, you don't want to run this, you'd plug it in right here. So for my application, I just use this one I went and unplugged the microwave from its microwave spot and plugged the microwave into where the TV goes, because TV doesn't draw anything. So this will run the microwave, and these will run everything else. Don't have to do that. I could just take and unplug this, plug it straight into here. That's actually what I was doing for a while, is I was just running one, and I had just one air conditioner, the microwave, most of the outlets, so on and so forth. It worked just fine, but I added the second one so I can run both air conditioners seamlessly. And then if I plug in at a RV park, I got 50 amp charging, I can reach in here, I can take and twist this up, or counterclockwise actually, and max out the charging on both of these and charge my battery up at, I think it's like, it's a lot anyhow, fairly quickly. The only other thing I had to do to the coach to make all of this work is I turned off my 12-volt converter by flipping the breaker inside, so that way I'm not powering from here and then powering a DC charger and then having this endless loop where I'm just got a lot of parasitic loss. I'm not doing any of that. Everything still works fine. Like these lights here are 12 volt, outside security lights 12 volt. Everything works just the same without that on. It's just that 12 volt part side of it will never be powered by the converter anymore, because I don't want to waste the power doing it that way. Now I can, it won't hurt anything. I can kick that on, like if I'm going to be hooked up to shore power for a while and I don't want to run off my batteries, I can kick that back on, no problem. But what if the power goes out? Then again, I've got that closed loop, so there's really no reason for me to run it. It's still there, it's still hooked up. All I have to do is kick it on if I want to. So anyhow, that's my system, that's how it's hooked up. I still have the one battery here in the factory location. Of course, I upgraded it to a lifetime trolling motor, 100 amp hour battery. One thing to make note of though is this is what sends your power inside, and it has these little shitty little breakers in it. This breaker went bad on me, so I went and bypassed it, but this is going to get replaced just for safety's sake. But if you try to run one of these systems and you have this battery hooked up with these little shitty breakers, you start really pulling power through this thing, and for whatever reason you stop pulling power from there, you're going to lose your breaker, and then you're going to lose power to everything. Which I ran into that problem of I was using my system and I didn't realize that that was tripped, and all of my RV's other functions, all of the 12 volt functions that come with the RV are all powered off this rat's nest of shit. This is the way it comes, by the way, just so you know. I haven't done anything in here besides bypass that one deal. But my auto leveling kept cutting out. Well, this battery was not being charged at all from anything except for the solar that's on the roof, which I only have one panel hooked up on the roof right now, because that breaker was tripped. And the reason that breaker was tripped is because I was sending so much power through this way, charging this battery up, that it kicked that breaker because there's too much amperage going through. So anyhow, I know you guys are going to roast me for all this fucking crazy wiring. Well, this isn't done, for one. For two, this is the way these fucking things come. I mean, pretty hideous, in my opinion, that an RV manufacturer thinks that this is okay, but I digress. Like I said, from there, there's one breaker there, there's my shunt. I got my shunt hooked up, just sitting over here for right now. I think I'm actually going to wind up running 2 shunts, and possibly I might leave this one in here, add another shunt in with Bluetooth, so that I can have Bluetooth on it. This charger that's over here has Bluetooth in it, and I can Bluetooth it. It's kind of nice. And then, like I say, I relocated this Dirt Devil up here, get it out of the way, so I was able to add this whole nother battery down here, and everything is going to be hid behind this false wall that bolts up right here. So the storage is basically the same. The only thing I lost is this here. And then what I think I may do is I may build a box that go over the top of these, and where I can put another big battery up here on top. But anyhow, that's how you can get by without running a 3-way auto transfer switch, as long as you buy inverters that have auto pass-through. And like I say, this thing is completely seamless. And I don't have my keys. So here's my solar panels. Like I said, I've got 5 200-watt solar panels just sitting here on the ground right now. I haven't got them mounted up on the roof of the RV. These are all hooked up in series, so they're just daisy chained through one to the other. Bloop, 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 bloop. Positive goes to one, negative goes to the other, and then back to the 60 amp charge controller. Now, go in here. Like I said, everything still works just as intended. Run electric water heater on electric or gas, however you want. Stereo still works. I think Legend of the Falls in there right now. So I've even got a subwoofer hooked up here that I added in, by the way. If you want to add a subwoofer, you can run your amplifier down here and hook it up to your 12-volt supply on the back of this Go Power charger. Just FYI, you can do that. It's fine. Plenty of power to run it. Obviously, you're not running off the charger or off the deals. You're just running off the battery, but still, it's perfectly fine. And there's a fuse in there as well. I left this on just to have some redundancy. I actually upgraded this one to a lithium one. I thought the charging and everything would be right, but it was already here. So I figured, what the hell? And, you know, it gives me a little extra visibility. See where my batteries are at, how much charging is going on, whatnot. So I have that charger in here as well. And then down here, I have my other Lifetime controller here hooked up. And then, as you can see, it shows my batteries, all that kind of stuff. I only run the normal mode. On the eco mode, it'll constantly want to shut the power off, and you can't keep like clocks and stuff going with that. And then, so I've got my microwave. Microwave has a plug right there that it normally plugs into, that's on a single circuit. All you have to do is just unplug that, plug it right in there to the TV, and now the microwave and the TV are now running off of that small 2000 watt inverter. And then you've got this one plug here. Let me turn some more light on. This one plug here that runs on that single circuit as well. It's either this one or the other one, I don't remember. But so you can make coffee and whatnot if you're boondocking and you didn't want to run everything. But so, for example, I'll go and turn AC on. Let me shut the door so you don't have all this extra noise going on everywhere. That's just the fan. High cool. See, it just kicked over. Like I said, doesn't have soft starts, but that big ass surge that these things have, more than ample for taking care of this. Okay, so here's my other one. Cool high. No problem. Space heater. Putting out plenty of heat. kicking on just fine. Yeah, running. Yeah, let's just leave that running. And none of this is, nothing is plugged into the grid. This is just running off the inverters. So there's both ACs running. Watch this. This is a 1500 watt. $1,500 heater. Heats right up, just no problem. Turn the stereo on. Get out of here, Jonathan. And of course the freaking charging quit, or the video quit right as I was doing that, but I did overtax it. Let's see what quit working. Of course I've never run 2 heaters and 2 air conditioners all at the same time, but I was just trying to max out the system and see what it would take. Let's see what happened. Everything's still on. Looks like it was just too much for the system. What happened? Oh, that's what happened. We tripped the breaker. So we were pulling so much power from the batteries at one time that it kicked the breaker off. So that tells me that I'm going to have to increase the amount of breaker that I have going through here. Ooh, you're a little warm. Kick that back on. So, yeah, that's what the problem was there. But again, like I said, I just hooked up a 1500 watt heater, 2 air conditioners, and a 750 watt heater, and a TV, and the refrigerator that pulls like 300 watts all at one time. So no shit. So what happened was it popped this breaker here, and then we were just running off just the other battery, and it just probably just juiced the shit out of that battery. It's only 100 amp hour. But anyhow, let's go back and do a little more testing. Let's do high cool. Clicks on. Damn it, if I could keep screwing up here. There you go, high cool. No problem. So like I say, that was just too much power at one time. Running. See right there, I'm pulling 2200 watts right now is what I'm pulling. Running both air conditioners. Now of course I'm not going to be able to do that all the time. So, but anyhow, I'm just trying to show you guys, like, this is what this system is capable of. A little warm there. I think I'm going to take and add a second set of cables stringing across, because that's my weak point. Is I've got 500 amp bus bar there, a 300 amp bus bar there, a 300 amp bus bar there, and I got a 300 amp breaker, and running that much stuff at one time was just too much. Again, if I was running a 48 volt system, this wouldn't be a problem, because the amount of amperage that I was pulling would be a lot less. Okay, so both ACs are running no problem. Let's see what happens when we kick this guy on full blast. And see, also want to show you guys, I tripped it out, lost power to ACs, lost power to this. But you notice my microwave didn't lose time, and the reason for that was because it's on that other inverter. So again, redundancies. Let's see how much power we're pulling now. .7 kilowatts. These things are zinging. Cable is barely warm at all. But yeah, we can look here. See my output, still producing 112 volts output. My output 39%, and that's on this one. Let's go see what the output is on the other one. Like I say, we're also, keep in mind, we're also running 2 air conditioners simultaneously and running a heater all at the same time. Let's go to this one. This is the other inverter. It's where you can see it. Output 96%. So it makes sense when I went and turned the other one on all at the same time. So this is pulling all that this thing will do, running the air conditioner and a 1500 watt heater at the same time, which of course no one would ever do unless you had a kid involved. But so like I say, that's the power of the system. I'm running big ass inverter, or big ass heater. It's that 1500 watt heater, 2 ACs. I don't know how to show that these are blown cold, but they are. Let's see. And then we'll go up here. You can obviously hear this thing blowing. And these vents got cold coming out of them too. These come from the front AC. These are just, this one's just for this cabin, and it's freezing me out in here. And see, now I could also run that heater, which that heater will be running off of the 2000 watt inverter. All right. Now, show you guys this. Turn TV on. Turn the stereo back on. By the way, these didn't shut off. I shut them off. I was trying to shed some loads. Let me go check and make sure I haven't kicked that breaker again. Nope. I haven't kicked the breaker again. With all that, pulling 3.8 kilowatts right now, and it says I got 2 hours and 20 minutes that I can do that at. I'm pulling 306 amps right now, so that would be why I kicked that breaker. I've got negative 306 amps coming out of these batteries right now. All right. Well, now watch this. And I'm running movie and the stereo. Okay. Enough of that before I get copyright infringement or some shit. Alright, now show you this. Now I'm going to take and turn my generator on. Generator kicks on. Click input. I got no input. Now watch. The generator always does this. It's going to fire up. It's going to, you know, circulate a minute, and then it's going to apply the loads. That's what the auto transfer switch does. Generator will not run both air conditioners at one time, and this. Alright, well, it wasn't a really good test to show how seamless it was, but without running the heater and both air conditioners, which, like I said, again, you'd say never do, running the AC, running that. So my power system actually has more power than my generator, because my power system, I'll turn this off so you guys can hear me. So my power system will run both the AC units and the TV and that heater all at once, seamlessly. where the actual generator, the 5500 watt Onan, can't power all that stuff at the same time. So anyhow, but now, like I say, you look on here, we're in bypass. Now that I've shed some loads where our power's back up to normal voltage, it was like way low a minute ago. Never lost that because I'm running off that little inverter. All that stuff's fine. So I'm running my AC, doing all that stuff. And now if we come back over here, you can see now we're actually putting power back in the battery. We're putting 45 watts back into the battery right now. Now 80 watts, 120, 125 watts, it's ramping up. Reason it does that is I think it charges the house battery fast first, and then once it starts getting up there, then it starts kicking over here. But I say, let me shed a couple more loads. Let's turn this AC back off. Now the generator is completely like not doing shit. But see, I can also set these lifetime inverters up where the inverters will just run and the power coming in will just act to charge the batteries up, and it won't run off these whatsoever. And you simply do that by a little dip switch on the back. Switch it on each one, and then the system will never even change over. See, so now, like I say, now I'm charging a little bit. Now watch this. Crank these bad boys all the way up. Now I'm putting 860 some watts into my batteries while the generator is running and powering my loads inside through the pass-through on these. So anyhow, I don't know if this is probably a lot of video. I'm gonna turn these back down. A lot of the time I just plug it into small outlet. So a lot of times what I do is I just plug in right here with this yellow cord. I've got the big old monster cord. The only place I have to plug it in is where I charge my Tesla at, so I'd unplug the Tesla, run the cable in there to run 240 volt. So it just comes around and hooks up to this cable, and all this does is just split that single hot leg into two hot legs, feeding both into the trailer. This is just something I bought on Amazon. Like I said, links to everything that's in this build will all be in the description. There'll be Amazon affiliate links to everything. But like I say, once I get all this done, like I said, other stuff I want to do, take that water pump, mount it up here, have room for one more battery there, possibly go and either stack a smaller battery on top of that big battery, maybe make a deal, I don't know. And then I could also put like 3 of those 300 amp hour watt cycle batteries right behind here. Really wouldn't affect my space very much and really jazz up my capacity on all this. And like I say, once I get all this done, there's a false wall that goes right in here that'll block all this off. You won't see any of that. All this mess will be all tidied up, closed up. I won't have those charging cables run over. What I'm eventually going to do is I'm going to put another charge controller in here, and I'm actually going to put pass through right here and put a gland here on the wall where I can just plug solar panels in there and have solar panels strung out on the ground over yonder. But anyhow, why, you ask, have so much? I already had one, already had this guy who came with the trailer. I figured, why not make it all work? And so it all does work. The only problem is I need another one of these and another set of cables to pass through some power. But so like I said, there is some drawbacks to running this system like this. Main drawback being is just the amount of cabling that I have to run 12 volt is just atrocious. The amount of amperage I'm having to pull running 12 volts is just insane. But anyhow, let me show you how seamless this is. So this here, I just kicked it off in the back. This heater here is not is powered by the 3000 watt inverter 1. It's not powered by the 2000, but right now it's running off the generator. Watch. Turn the generator off, you see it fade just a little bit, but it never went away. And like I say, TV never quit playing, all that stuff automatically switched back. No issues whatsoever. So anyhow, I hope that answered your guys' questions. If you guys have any more, here's so your panel may be a little different, but so you have your 12 volt, this is your converter. So as you can see, I've got that breaker switched off. This other one's not in use. That one's switched off. Everything else is still on. Those are just my two mains coming in, 250s. Like I said, I used a 40 on mine. That way, if it trips, it's going to trip out there, and I won't have to worry about screwing up my main wiring in here. But as I say, everything works. Microwave works. Everything works as intended. Still got all the fancy bougie lights and all the stuff and things. That's not a problem with my power source, it's just a funky switch. Trust me. See, wiggle it. Bought this thing used, so. But anyhow, go ahead and start filling the comments up with hate mail. Whatever. But anyhow, that's how I did it, and avoided buying a three-way transfer switch that I felt really was unnecessary, because like I say, I have auto transfer built into these, and all I have to do to make it run solely off of these, I'm going to flip that transfer. I think I'm going to do that, period, is I'm just going to flip that transfer switch on both of them. But I don't know, I ain't decided yet. But I mean, honestly, running the heater, running that, I mean, I'm never going to run more than 2 heaters in here at a time. I'm never going to run more than 2 ACs in here at a time. You know, there's never going to be a time where I'm going to be doing that much shit. Like I said, the most that this thing's ever going to have pull from it is I'm going to be going and pulling this heater, probably running on medium heat, heater in there running on low, and microwave, or the 2 ACs at one time in the microwave. That's pretty much it. And like I say, the microwave will be running on the other battery, which the other battery is going to get upgraded, and those cables from the other battery coming in, those are going to get upgraded as well. Yeah, I mean, system works. So anyhow, this is going to be a really long-winded video anyway. So there you have it.